Welcome, everybody, to the Area 67 Music Podcast Show. I'm Mikey Vegas. I'm your host. And today we have a special guest in the studio, Bailee Neville. Is that how you pronounce your last name? I always afraid I'm pronouncing it wrong. So, Bailee is a female drummer. Obviously, she's female. She's a drummer here in the Cleveland area. Bailee's from Erie, Pennsylvania. Is that correct?
Yep,
yeah,
that is correct.
Erie, Pennsylvania. So, what brought you down here to Cleveland from Erie? Why would you come to Cleveland of all places?
So, Erie is a really small town. I went to college at Edinburgh University down there. And after college, I got recruited for a job out in Cleveland, and we always grew up coming out here to go shopping and whatnot because there's not a whole lot to offer in Erie. So it seemed like a good move. So here we are now. A lot more going on in the music scene out here too.
So you chose Cleveland over like Pittsburgh or like Buffalo or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly the closest to Erie. In relation to the other big cities in the area, it's definitely the closest to Erie. So it's like really only about like an hour and 15 for me to get home. Plus the cost of living here is exponentially better than it is in Pittsburgh. So.
Gotcha. I imagine the music scene's a little bit better here in Northeast Ohio than it would be in Pittsburgh. I don't rarely toured through Pittsburgh when I was with other bands and stuff like that. So
yeah, Pittsburgh's a bit of a nightmare to navigate as well. So and
that's true.
Not the best driver in the game. So
it seems like most of their venues are kind of located in the downtown area, and that place is crazy to try to navigate. You're right.
Yeah, a nightmare. So Cleveland is definitely much easier for a bad driver.
So you're a drummer.
That I am.
There's not a lot of female drummers that we are exposed to, I guess, in the pro world. I know there's been a number of female drummers, but we don't get a chance to really hear from them that often. The one that comes to mind most is Stephanie Eulenberg. She was Kid Rock's drummer. She was a really badass drummer. I'm not sure who she drums with anymore. But I know that there's quite a few female drummers out there, and I'm pretty sure you probably don't have any that are your icons or anything like that. You probably looked up to some male drummers. Not that I know it's a kind of a male-driven type of instrument.
Yeah.
But I have to say, I've heard you play drums live, and I was pretty shocked at how hard that you hit the drums for such a tiny person.
Well, thank you. First of all, my dad always told me not to hit like a girl when I was growing up. So.
Well, you definitely don't hit like a girl.
Yeah, he got just that, and now the biggest complaint is that I hit way too hard.
So what led you into that instrument out of all the instruments that you could have chosen?
Yeah, so when I was younger, my parents got me started on the piano. Honestly, I probably started that when I was I want to say 6 or 7. I was really young when I started piano. But I think the reason that they got me started on it is just because we had an upright piano in the house and needed to put it to some use. So I wound up in music class at school. I probably had to be in 3rd, 4th grade maybe, but they were talking about marching band, the different instruments you can play. So I told my dad I wanted to play the snare drum in marching band, and he's a guitar player, just give that piece of background, but he's a guitar player, so he was like, well, do you want to play one drum or do you want to play all of the drums? And of course, to a young kid, the whole drum set looks a lot more appealing than one singular drum. So he signed me up for lessons at one of our local music stores in Erie, and the rest was history there.
Cool. Well, so what were some of the first songs that you learned how to play? If you don't mind, kind of talking to me instead of the camera.
First, yeah. I don't know which way to look. Okay. I know, here's the back of my head now, guys.
It's cool.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I know Lifehouse first time was definitely one of the first ones I ever learned. Oh my God, the camera's over this way. I just realized that.
We got 2 cameras. It's all good.
Okay, cool. So Lifehouse first time was probably one of the first songs I ever learned, Back in Black by AC/DC. I think that was the first song I ever played live, actually.
That's funny. That was the first song I ever played live
Yeah.
as well, too.
Was it really?
Yeah.
No way.
It was.
Yeah. I remember it was we had like a recital at the rock school I was at the time, and they basically like pieced together bands. So like you had like 7 songs to choose from, and like all the people that chose Back in Black or like any of the other songs they would put together in like a little band. But I just remember my drum teacher like being squatted down on the floor next to me, like walking me through it. And like now it's funny to think about because there's like 2 crashes in that entire song, and I think that's the only way it changes. So
yeah, that was definitely an easy song to kind of learn.
Yeah.
But it was a fun song because obviously it was AC/DC.
Right.
I played it when I was in 8th grade, but it was a fresh song back then. It was a brand new song, and I was in a talent show in 8th grade, and our choir teacher put some of us together and created this band.
Yeah.
From people who were in the talent show, and we played the last day of school for lunch break for every grade. So that's like 6th grade had their lunch period, then 7th grade, then 8th grade, and there was like a stage in the cafeteria, and nobody knew that this was going on. And then the curtains opened, and we opened with Back in Black. So that was pretty fun. But that was the first song I ever played live too. That was kind of fun.
I feel like it's one of those songs that as a musician, that's like almost everybody's first. And if you don't know it, you might as well just put down the instrument.
Right.
So.
I wonder if that's like the Led Zeppelin of riffs for drummers, you know?
Yeah, I feel like that's a good way to put it. So it's like the basis of which you learn everything else off of is the easiest.
Right.
To put, so.
So early on when you were performing, playing drums, did you play, like, how did that begin? I know that you played in your father's band, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Is that how you kind of transitioned into live playing was with them, or did you start off with another band prior to that? How did that kind of work itself out?
When I was younger, my parents, the area or the place I was taking lessons at was called World of Music in Erie. They had a rock school there too, so my parents got me involved in rock school. Probably been playing like 2-3 years at that point, so I had a couple years under my belt. But my parents got me enrolled in that, and I started with some original groups within the rock school there.
Right.
Got acquainted with them, played some shows. It was all original music at the time, though. The first time I ever played in a cover band was with my dad, and that was right after I came back. I went to school in South Carolina for a year of college, and right after I came back and transferred up to Edinburgh, my dad was getting ready to put together a new band, so that's kind of when I jumped into cover music. So.
Okay. And do you like playing cover music as opposed to like originals?
See, that's where it gets weird for me because I can appreciate both. I mean, obviously, my favorite thing to play is metal. Obviously, metal is a little bit harder to book at a bar or venue than top 40 stuff is. I mean, at least when you're talking the cover music scene. So it really just depends. I mean, I enjoy writing. It's fun to be able to be creative. It's also fun to play cover music too. It's cool seeing a packed dance floor in front of you, even when you're playing Jesse's Girl for the 4,000th time and you don't want to be playing it, but it's still fun to do. It's a nice little side gig for some extra cash too. So.
Yeah, it's gotta be fun because it does give you the opportunity to play in front of a larger crowd than you would normally play if you were in an original band, and it allows you to get your chops up so that when you are an original band and you do come across larger crowds, then you're not as like intimidated or nervous as you would normally be. And you did mention something that I thought was kind of cool. You like metal.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of girls that like metal in general.
Yeah.
And to have a girl drummer who likes metal is pretty cool. It shows that you kind of appreciate metal drumming is not easy.
Yeah, it's not. And honestly, it makes me laugh because I feel like I almost play a lot of that stuff better because it is more technical and my head's like in the game and I'm focused to that point, as opposed to like when I get on the stage with my cover bands, sometimes I just kind of go into autopilot and it's like, I'm messing up like the easiest things that I've been playing for the 1000th time over and over again. But it's just, I don't know. There's a lot more going on. There's more to concentrate on. I obviously love the double bass. If anybody's ever seen me with my cover band, I'm throwing it into every top 40 song I possibly can. So it's fun to play.
I've been watching some of your videos online, and I would So you should probably throw a camera down there by your kick pedals.
Yeah, we've only done that one time. So my dad helps me out with all of my covers. We're still working on like the camera angles and whatnot, the setup of it in general. But yeah, we put, I think it was when I did a cover of Psychosocial by Slipknot, we put a camera down by my
Okay.
feet. So it came out pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people like that to see
Yeah.
your footwork because
Yeah.
that's in metal music. That's really the most important stuff. If
For
your
sure.
footwork's off there, then it just really can throw everything way off. Not that in any other genre that's not
Yeah.
the case, but especially in metal.
Yeah, for sure. And that's when I go to learn some of those like more intricate songs with a lot of footwork in them. I look for the covers with people who have the camera on their feet
Right.
because it's easier to kind of figure out what's going on. So, yeah.
So technical question then, for kick drum, is there a certain technique that you like to use over the other technique as far as your kick drum,
Yeah.
your kick pedal?
To be honest, I don't know what I do. I just kind of do it and hope for the best. And if it works, it works. So if it's not working, then I got to change something up and fix my foot position. So I wouldn't say there's like any one technique I jump right to. It depends on the song. I really
So whatever one
don't.
kind of fits.
Yeah, when
Best
it
for the
locks
song.
in, when it locks in, it locks in. So it depends, I think. So not 100% sure what I do, but
So would you? Wow, I got a lot of questions. I guess one question I would want to ask is like, for what advice would you give to young girls who are wanting to play drums and looking to do that, as their instrument of choice as opposed to piano or violin or keyboards or whatever the traditional stuff that
Right.
you would think a female would be doing?
right. I mean, it's 2020. Just go for it is the biggest thing. So, I mean, if you have lessons available to you, I always recommend taking lessons. Lessons help me immensely. I took them up until probably like a year and a half ago, honestly. Now I would still be taking them if I could. I just don't have the time. There's always more to learn. It's nice being able to have the in-person experience. I know with everything going on right now, it's not 100% possible, but there are a lot of tools out there like YouTube and whatnot where you can learn from other people and kind of pick up on their techniques. But yeah, go into it with confidence is my biggest thing. So, and the sooner you start, the better off you are. So,
That's true, especially with any instrument. Really,
Yeah.
the younger that you can start off, the better it is, and
sure.
the easier it'll be for you to grasp the more advanced techniques the older you get.
Yeah.
Because the older you get, and you start trying to learn an instrument, you're fighting against your own self.
yeah, that's the thing. I can't even imagine. I'm 24 now, and like I can't. If I wouldn't have been playing for as long as I would have, it would seem so scary to jump into it now. Not that I'm discouraging anybody from jumping into it when you're older, but it's never too late to start, right? But confidence is key, regardless. So
So, you played in a cover band with your father out in Erie.
Yep.
I know you guys have played outside of Erie, and you toured to different areas around the region. I take it.
local, yeah. I mean, I would
Like-
say within like an hour, 2 hour
Right.
radius. So.
Well, that's the cool thing
yeah.
about the Northeast part of the United States is like everything is within an hour
yeah,
of each other. You could be in Pennsylvania, you could be in New York, or you could be in
Right.
Michigan, or
Right.
just so many different options, and you can hit up a lot of different markets pretty quickly and easily.
yeah, for sure. And that's like one of my biggest reasons for wanting to stay here. I mean, obviously my family is in Erie, but there is like, I mean, you've got Columbus, you've got Erie, which is where I'm from, then Buffalo, and just all of the surrounding areas. So there's a lot to offer up here. As
Are
far as
there any
music's concerned.
places that you like playing more than others? Any
Um,
particular venues that you come across that you really like to play at?
Yeah, I have to say Geneva on the Lake is definitely one of my favorites. It's about what I live like downtown area of Cleveland. It's probably like 45 minutes east or so, but that is just a fun place.
It's beautiful out
yeah.
there too.
It is. It's right on the water. There's a whole strip of just bars, restaurants, all kinds of fun venues to play. And that place, like during a nice night on the summer, it's always packed. Everybody's there to have fun. So hands down, definitely one of my favorite places to go.
Cool. So are you still playing with your father's band?
So not at the moment. The situation over in Pennsylvania, as far as COVID's concerned, is definitely a little bit stricter than it is out here. There aren't many venues in Erie that are playing right now, so that's kind of on pause at the moment. So he does have another drummer that plays for him as well. We just kind of before COVID, I would take a show, he would take it, just kind of depending upon location, that kind of a thing. So we'll see. Hopefully I'll get back to playing with him sooner or later. So
Cool. Are you doing any original stuff, any side projects? I know that you were doing something in a metal band not too long ago.
Yeah.
Before the whole COVID thing hit, and
Right.
that seemed like it was going pretty well. So,
Yeah.
what's going on there?
So that is called Quality of Mercy. We did write a good chunk of songs together. It was with two of my coworkers actually. So we wrote a good chunk of songs before all the COVID stuff happened. Now we were recording in our singer's basement, so it's not too conducive to social distancing. So we're just playing it safe. Hopefully we'll get back around to it here sooner or later. So everybody's kind of taking a pause and taking a step back right now. So it's okay.
Right, right.
Is, so.
Yeah, plus his wife has some issues, so we got to make sure you keep social distancing in that respect for sure. Because
better safe than sorry.
Definitely want to keep her health intact. So
yeah.
On a technical side, I guess, like, are there what's your favorite brand of drums? Do you have a favorite brand of drums? What kit do you play and prefer to play? And
so DW all the way. I grew up on PDPs too, so it's just their low line. But yeah, PDP and DW hands down are my favorite. Right now I'm playing a DW Design. Would like to jump it up to a collector sooner or later here, but it's not a big need right now. So you can't beat the build. And I mean, I love selling the PDP stuff at work too, because it's for the price point. It's phenomenal gear. You get a great build on the drum shells. You get great hardware on them. You can't beat it for the price.
Yeah, the PDP stuff is just insanely good for the price.
Yeah.
To me, it's like on another level. It should really be priced more.
Yeah.
To be honest.
No, I 100% agree.
I've seen a lot of bands tour with the PDP kits.
Yeah.
And they sound amazing.
Yep.
And you're in the DW family, so
right.
That's always a cool thing. I love DW gear. I'd love to have one in the collector series or the design series even. So you have a design series, right?
Yeah, design series.
Is yours the satin black one? Is that the one that you got? Because I know that you were looking at some. Yeah. I know you switched stuff around.
A little bit of a junkie. Yeah, there's a 3-piece satin black one. The main one that I take out to shows is the 5-piece all white one. It's on the drum rack.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
It's the gloss white in the design series. So
cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Gotta love DW.
Are you playing any shows with any other cover bands here in Cleveland? I know you were doing some stuff with Billy Morris and his band.
Yeah.
And what's the name
so
of the band?
When I first got here, I was filling in for Billy a little bit here and there. Right now I am full time with I've got 2 cover bands here. One's called Speed Rail, the other's called Flash Mob.
Flash Mob, that's the one that I remember.
Yeah. So Flash Mob has been out quite a bit recently. Speed Rail is going to be out for the first time with our new singer next week, who is my friend Jess. So both of them it's top 40 cover music. Speed Rail is definitely a little bit geared more towards rock, whereas Flash Mob is a pretty good mix up of everything. I mean, we do everything from like rap to 80s hair metal and Flash Mob, so it's all over the place. But think like wedding band. That's the best way to put it.
Do you ever get to sneak in any metal songs in there? Well, Slipknot every now and then.
No, nothing too heavy. I mean, I throw in my like double bass licks here and there. Throw in a nice little China crack when I can, but you can't go crazy with it. When you're in a cover band, you're supposed to play the cover, so make it sound at least somewhat like it was originally written. So I don't want to like stray too far and start throwing people off. So
right. Well, you mentioned a couple of times that you work in music retail. I won't name the store that you work for, but what is it like being a female working in music retail? I've had the pleasure of working with you.
Yeah.
So I know some of the issues that come up and some of the funny things that have happened in the past, but love to hear it from you.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously when I was hired there, that was one of the questions that was first asked. Like, are you okay with working in a male dominated industry? And I mean, it is what it is. It's just a fact. So doesn't bother me a single bit. It's one of those things where like, yeah, I occasionally have the jerk that'll come in and be skeptical and be like, oh, like you play drums. Okay. Yeah. Like, what do you know about it? But usually, I mean, 9 times out of 10, when I start talking and like you have to prove yourself, as silly as that sounds, because I really shouldn't have to prove myself. But as soon as you start talking and they realize, oh, okay, like she does know what she's talking about, then like it's okay after that. Yeah, we've had a couple crazy incidents at the store as far as that's concerned, but you
Yeah,
know,
you run across them. I've seen the discrimination take place like
yeah,
firsthand, and it's crazy because I know that you're way knowledgeable about percussion and drums and all
yeah,
that kind of stuff, and I'd walk by and you'll be talking to a customer and they'll see me walk by and they'll start talking to me,
yeah,
asking me the same questions. It's like she really knows her
yeah,
stuff. She's the person you really want to be talking to, not me. But
right.
it's funny how, and I've seen it with other female associates in the past too.
Mhm.
It's just, it's sad that it's like that.
You have to keep in mind too that it's a certain generation's mindset. And at
You're
this
right. You're
point,
right.
you're just not going to change it. So you got to take it with a grain of salt and realize it's not personal and
You
move
bring up
on.
a good point because most of the people that I've seen do that are kind of older
Hmm.
gentlemen who've
Yeah.
done that. The younger guys, they seem to gravitate to like they want to talk to you and find out because they're not judging. You know, they're
Right.
not preconceived.
Right.
Um,
It always
know.
would crack me up when like I give somebody my opinion on something and then he'd go ask my other drum associate Brian the same question and Brian would tell him the same exact thing. And I'd
Right.
be like, come on, man, but it is what it is. You got to keep your head on your shoulders and realize it's probably nothing personal with you. It's just their mindset. And unfortunately, you're probably not going to be the person to change it. So you got to laugh at it and move on.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. It takes a certain person to be able to handle that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen other females come through there and had a hard time, with being treated that way.
Yeah.
And I can't say that I blame them. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very disrespectful and hurtful to be overlooked like that.
Yeah.
It's like we're all humans. It shouldn't matter what sex or what color we are.
Right.
It shouldn't judge what our knowledge is about
yeah.
a subject.
Right. And it doesn't. I mean, it's like I said, usually you can talk them down as soon as they realize you do know what you're talking about. Gosh, I can't talk. What you're talking about, they'll come down off that ledge. But
Yeah,
there are exceptions to that. So.
Once they know that you know what you're talking about, then they start going for the discounts.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Can I get that military discount
Yeah.
or a police discount or can I get that ASCAP discount or
Yeah.
BMI discount? Can I get any kind of discount?
I had somebody ask me if you could get a discount for being handsome the other day. So I was
Okay.
like, yeah, you can bring that up with my general manager. I doubt that's going to go well for you, but it's worth a shot, right?
So how's it been since COVID hit with retail music? I know firsthand. I've seen the demand for certain things like go out the roof, and
Mhm.
which means that there's not a lot of product in the store anymore because that demand is so high.
Yeah. After we came back from quarantine, being shut down for like 2 months or however long it was, I wound up getting moved back to pro audio because all of our pro audio guys were still off work because of COVID. So we saw a huge spike in recording gear being sold, and up until really the last couple of weeks, the interfaces were so few and far between, which is like the first piece you need to get started on home
Right.
recording. The interfaces were so few and far between that we couldn't get them. So, and we would get like a small shipment, like 5 to 10 of like the Scarlett 2i2s, the solos, and they would literally be gone within 48 hours. So it was crazy. It's definitely leveled out recently. I would say we're still pretty darn busy, all things considered. So a lot of foot traffic. Seems like I'm talking to people most of the day. So it's definitely, the demand for the at-home recording stuff is definitely tapered off a bit, but it's definitely still there. I think most of the people that were so gun-ho on the home recording have kind of gotten everything they need, and now at this point, it's just more
Right.
the add-ons. So.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is like homeschooling or
Yeah.
Zoom recording and stuff
It
like
is.
Zoom school,
Yep.
Zoom school.
We've seen a huge spike in the podcasting and just the at-home
Yeah.
or recording, like Zoom, little microphones and whatnot. So.
Right. Yeah. I guess everybody's got to be able to get that audio into the computer so that they can feed that to their teachers and
Yeah.
talk back and forth. It's really a weird kind of world we're starting to kind of transition to.
Yeah.
With Zoom meetings and, Zoom lessons and all that kind of stuff. I'm kind of
Yep.
hoping we get back to a little bit of normalcy where we can actually
Me
have
too.
like sit down with a guitar teacher like right across from you and
Yeah.
have a guitar lesson, or
Right.
we still do it here at the studio and the school that's here, Falls Music School. We still have in-person lessons and stuff. We're still social distancing and wearing our masks and stuff like that. But it's just kind of I don't know that we're going to go away with the masks anytime soon.
No, me either. I mean, it is not fun as it is to wear those things. I would prefer to stay open and be able to continue to go to work every day. So, I mean, suck it up and do it. But
Yeah. Well,
um,
well, it's been awesome having you on the show.
thank you. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you coming on. Where can you tell the listeners where they can find you and check out your videos and your, all that good stuff online?
Yeah. So everything's under my first and last name, which is Bailee Neville. First name is spelled Bailee, and the last name is Neville. It's just all one. I don't use any like hyphens or anything like that. So you can find me on Instagram there, YouTube, Facebook. I do have a Twitter that I don't really use, but give me a follow on there. Maybe I'll get back to it sooner or later. So I've been out of content recently, but hopefully I will be back with some drum covers pretty soon here. So
awesome. Well, we'd love to invite you in to do any drum cover here, and
Yeah.
we'd love to put it on our show sometime. So,
for sure.
Again, really appreciate you coming out for the Area 67 Music Podcast. I'm Mikey Vegas. This is Bailee Neville, and we're out.
Cool.
Peace.